What's a quote that has just stuck with you? All those days that came and went, little did I know that they were life. Wow, this is so short and sweet you almost don't realize exactly how much it's saying. It's the little words, and just how powerful those words are. As an adult, I find myself living for the weekend. I don't even pay attention to what is happening during the work week. I just try to survive. I blink and the other week has gone by. Another month, another year, and little did I know that those days were my life. Jesus Christ, you just yeeted me full send into existential dread. If you loan someone $20 and you never see them again, it was probably worth it. If you don't know what you want, you end up with a lot you don't. It took me until I was 31 to realize what I wanted to do when I grow up. I wish I would have found it when I was younger because I thought about it here and there. Oh well, I am really happy now. Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when we look back, everything is different. That's why I have 365 different shirts, all slightly a different color, making a rainbow throughout the year, despite each one looking the same as the one the day before and the same as the one the day after. Edit. Now to find someone who actually lets you buy exact hexadecimal values of shirts to do the rainbow effect. There is no sadder sight than a young pessimist, Mark Twain. Oof, don't I feel attacked. How do you unclench a tightly clenched fist? Do you apply just as much force? No, you just relax. That's how you let things go. From a dear friend who is suffering from extreme pain. Edit. Thank you all for your kind words. Receiving all these awards have put a big smile on my face, because they are proof that I'm no longer the only one benefiting from this quote. Makes me feel like I haven't just been wasting time on Reddit. Most importantly, it is also a proof that no matter what hardship you're going through right now, you're certainly not alone. For riding motorcycles, don't dress for the ride, dress for the slide. I just have this image of a guy in full motorcycle gear hesitantly going down a park slide. Don't set yourself on fire just to keep others warm. As your boot greater than build a man a fire, and he'll be warm for a day. Set a man on fire, and he'll be warm for the rest of his life. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. When I was a kid, I thought this was super deep. Lol. The world breaks everyone, and after, many are strong at the broken places. Ernest Hemingway. That's tragic and beautiful. He should be a writer. This is the last part of that quote. It's even more tragic. But those that will not break it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure it will kill you too, but there will be no special hurry. How sad it is that we give up on people who are just like us. Mr. Rogers. I was drinking with a friend of mine years ago and he mentioned how, in gardening, some people dig holes in their flower beds and put pint glasses in with a little bit of beer in the bottom. At night the slugs smell the beer, go over the lip, fall in, then get trapped and drown in the beer. Then he said something like, sometimes I think we're the slugs. Edit. Thanks for the silver kind stranger, slightly smiling face. Sometimes you're the pigeon, sometimes you're the statue. You can't make a racehorse out of a pig, but you can make a very fast pig. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you. No idea who said it, but I love it. Captain Disillusion ends all his videos with a similar quote. Love with your heart. Use your head for everything else. The days are long, but the years are short. In regards to raising kids, so many days you just can't wait till bedtime so you can have some peace. But then sometimes you look at them and wonder how they got so big so fast. Dad of a 14-month-old and another on the way. I remember every day of my son so far. Sorta. They were so long and so new and so fun and so terrifying and so wonderful. I can't believe he's well on his way to 2. I can tell you now. I remember bringing him home from the hospital with my wife and just being like, those dummies, no. We aren't ready for this. Right? Quote. But then you just go along. If he cried, I held him and fed him and changed him, and pretty much one of those things fixed whatever it was. And every day was long and hard and wonderful, and he started rolling and crawling and standing, and next thing I knew he was walking and I wasn't ready. I never understood why someone would say, treasure this time. I was always like, treasure wailing up every 2 hours. Treasure being vommed or pooped or drooled on? Quote, lol. The months into being a dad, you have this weird tolerance for getting barf-fed on. A colleague watched my son barf a bit on my shoulder, and I just wiped it off with my hand, gave it a quick sniff, and wiped it on my jeans like, meh. He's like, how does that not freak you out? And I'm like, PFFT, that was just a little burp's worth. I'll worry when he pukes his guts into my beard. A little milk and drool on my arm is nothing. I wasn't sure I wanted to be a dad. Then they hand you a loaf of human in the delivery room. And, for most guys, I imagine, a little voice in your head goes, they just handed you a person. This person needs you. Asterisk asterisk, man the fuck up. Asterisk asterisk. If you had a good dad, do your best to do what he did and you'll probably be okay. If you had a bad dad, try to do what you wish your dad had done. Or just do your best damn Andy Griffith impression and take the kid fishing and make sure he learns to put his bike in the garage. Sorry for the long rant. As a dude who a year ago wasn't so sure about this whole dad thing, I'm hella glad I had this time to grow. It's 4 a.m. My 5-month-old just woke for the second time. I'm crying and feeding hi monsieur damn you in your excellent post. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. Mark Twain. That actually is pretty comforting. Sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. Jake the dog. Adventure Time has some amazing quotes. My personal fav is, something weird might just be something familiar viewed from a different angle. And that's not scary, right? Quote, edit. Makes me happy seeing all this love for Adventure Time. Glad my most upvoted comment is about my favorite show. Another one I like is people get built different. We don't figure it out. We just respect it. And honestly, when I notice I am being judgmental, this quote puts me in check. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is now. It's really helped me work around being lazy and procrastinating. I can't really explain why though. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Edit. Whoa. Thanks for the silver and gold. At some point in your childhood, you and your friends went outside to play together for the last time and nobody knew it. I think about this quote a lot. At some point in your life your parents picked you up for the last time and nobody knew it. We can't fix a problem if we don't first acknowledge it. Why not use flex tape? Be the person you needed when you were younger. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold and platinum monsieur yes. I know people hate these edits. You're getting one this time. I can't talk about this in the real world, but when I was young, I got bullied often due to my race by classmates and their parents. I almost transferred schools to escape it. I remember feeling it was so unfair and wishing I had an ally, a teacher, or a friend to stand up for me. Now I work with young people who have been subjected to racism, domestic violence, and homophobia. It is fulfilling to help them become their own best advocates, confront their pasts and testify against their perpetrators. A person is smart but people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals. Such a serious line from a non-serious movie. Edit. I knows that it's cliché but thanks for the gold kind stranger. Edit 2. Fixed the quote, thanks to you. Happy day and you, Chash 2063. That whole scene, man. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. Outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. Groucho Marx. I never forget a face, but in your case I'll make an exception. I'm in an artistic business. And I'm currently lucky enough to be making good money creating content I love and seeing people enjoy it. So my dad told me this quote, which I believe was from JFK. There's always room for one more good one. If you're out there plodding away at something you love and find fun, keep at it. Everyone might say it's impossible to enter the music biz, or to write a great book, or to become an amazing designer. But there's always room for one more good one. If you're going throughout hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. When you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on. Theodore Roosevelt. Churchill versus Roosevelt, epic rap battles of history. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think asterisk, would an idiot do that? Asterisk, and if they would, I do not do that thing. Dwight K. Schrute. The Office changed my life. I'm not Jewish, but a friend of mine invited me to a Passover Seder. There's a part of the service telling the story of Exodus, where the angels sing in praise of God as the waters of the Red Sea close over the Egyptians as they pursue the Jews. And then God admonishes them, how can you sing while my children are drowning? Quote, even though I'm not religious, it was a good reminder to have empathy even for people who are at odds with you. During the Seder, there is also a portion where you pour out wine from your cup. One pour drop for each of the 10 plagues. This ceremony is a reminder that the Jews' deliverance came at the expense of the Egyptians' suffering, and therefore, their own joy is diminished. I'm not a practicing Jew. I just celebrate some of the main holidays with my family to honor their traditions. But there is some beautiful symbolism in their ceremonies and traditions. Modern-day equivalent. Just because you're not welcome at my table, doesn't mean I don't want you to eat. Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. Edit. Wow, I just want to say thank you to the kind Redditor who blessed me with my first silver. My next big tattoo is going to feature this quote. It's very near and dear to my heart. I'll definitely be posting it on our tattoos if y'all wanna keep an eye out. And the perfect pair to this is, a ship in port is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. It costs a lot to be poor. A related, if rather longer quote. The reason that the rich were so rich, Vime's reason, was because they managed to spend less money. Take Boots, for example. He earned $38 a month plus allowances. A really good pair of leather boots cost $50, but an affordable pair of boots, which were sort of okay for a season or two and then leaked like hell when the cardboard gave out, cost about $10. Those were the kind of boots Vimes always bought and wore until the soles were so thin that he could tell where he was in Ankh-Morpork on a foggy night by the feel of the cobbles. But the thing was that good boots lasted for years and years. A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while the poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. This was the Captain Samuel Vimes Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. From Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. Roosevelt. I can't abandon the person I used to be, so I carry her. Too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. JFK. Perfection and power are overrated. Uncle Iroh. Bless his soul. Measure twice. Cut once. I have a pretty good habit of double-checking things, which helps because of how easily you can lose track without realizing it. One time, after being on a road trip for a few days with a group in a bus, we're getting off on our very last day, so I won't see the vehicle again. After being on the sidewalk for a while, I decide I may as well do one last sweep of the bus just in case anyone left something. Well, my passport was under the seat, so that was a good thing I did that. Did they all live happily ever after? They did not. No one ever does. In spite of what the stories may say, they had their good days, as you do, and they had their bad days, and you know about those. They had their victories, as you do. And they had their defeats. And you know about those, too. There were times when they felt ashamed of themselves, knowing that they had not done their best. And there were times when they knew they had stood where their God had meant them to stand. All I'm trying to say is that they lived as well as they could. Each and every one of them. Some lived longer than others, but all lived well, and bravely, and I love them all, and am not ashamed of my love. Stephen King. The Eyes of the Dragon. I found this a while ago on a thread much like this. Hope someone else who needs it finds it. I have never had the slightest of interest in Stephen King, being that I am not a horror fan, but I might have to peep this book. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.